Some of the world's most powerful tech leaders are being called to testify before a panel of international lawmakers later on this year. The committee is demanding to hear from tech giants as it investigates disinformation, fake news, and election meddling around the world. The hearing is scheduled for May 28th in Ottawa, Canada. So CBS News investigative reporter Graham Cates broke the story and is joining me now. Thank you so much for joining us, Graham. So we've got this committee. Just how significant is this? Because I don't think I've heard of anything like this before.
It's fair to just say it's unprecedented. Okay. I mean, how often do you hear about parliaments from around the world getting together because they all have similar grievances with the same set of companies?
Right.
They decided at some point, these companies aren't meeting with us because we're smaller countries. We need to just get together and say, we have now a huge population under our wing, and we want to meet with you because of all of the problems we're experiencing.
That is very interesting. So it's being held in Canada. It's an international committee. But a lot of these business owners, these tech companies, they're American tech companies. Are there going to be American lawmakers questioning them?
There may be. I spoke with Bob Zimmer. He's a Canadian member of parliament who's one of the co-chairs of this committee. And he said they do intend to invite American lawmakers, but he wouldn't tell me just who yet.
OK, so the title, it's got quite a title. The International Grand Committee on Disinformation and Fake News. What exactly now are they investigating, and what do they want these tech leaders to talk about? What information are they hoping to get out of them?
Ultimately, they're looking into some of the same things that our own lawmakers are looking into, disinformation campaigns and election meddling. And the complaints, because it's different countries, they all vary just a little bit. So London lawmakers are looking into issues related to Brexit. But at the last hearing, we heard from a Singaporean leader who wanted to know about a viral post in Sri Lanka that called for the execution of Muslims. He said Facebook had been notified about it and the post was never taken down.
Yeah, you know, the thing about it is we've been concerned about election meddling and sort of influence campaign, nudging people to become concerned about issues that maybe they would not have been on their radar before, if you will. But in other countries, we're talking about people being killed in the street. We're talking about violence. I mean, the kind of influence that we're not just talking about tipping an election. We're talking about destabilizing a whole country in some cases, right?
Exactly. So that's why the people that they're asking for it, they control the companies that largely control the entire internet, the pathways from site to site, and the largest social media sites and search engines.
Right. So this is the second time that they're gathering, I suppose. I don't even know I don't recall the first meeting. What happened with the first meeting?
That was in London on November 27th. And
so that was just last year?
Yes.
Okay.
And they had invited Mark Zuckerberg. That was the main show. They really wanted him to attend. He said no. Instead, they sent Richard Allen, who's a vice president at Facebook, but is also a member of Britain's House of Lords. So
now I remember, yes.
Really regional person. Yeah. He wasn't able to answer a lot. And the people at the committee were just, I mean, they just yelled at him the whole time because Zuckerberg wasn't there. And he was sitting next to an empty seat for Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes, and I remember much of the yelling was about why isn't Zuckerberg here?
Yeah, really hours of it until we got to some of these meatier issues like the post about Muslims, which was brought up by the Singaporean representation.
So then, you know, at the end of the day, though, can a committee like this really force, you know, a Facebook or an Amazon or whatever it may be? Can they force these huge tech companies to alter their ways, to do more, to intervene?
Well, I think the first step is just getting there to talk about it, getting them there to talk about it. What I do know is that the Canadian members of parliament do have subpoena power. At this point, I asked them about that. They said, we're not going there yet, but they do have the ability to issue subpoenas to these people if they say no to the invitations.
I'm sure they do not want that to happen. Graham Cates, thank you very much.
Thank you.